Let's watch the backlash that the Republicans are receiving at their town halls.
Begin this hour with Americans speaking up very loudly and very clearly at town hall events across the nation. Republicans in Congress are taking the brunt of it over President Trump and Elon Musk, deep cuts to federal jobs and programs, and the uncertainty over the economy. A lot of people worried. A lot of GOP lawmakers have now canceled events amid all kinds of very tough questions from their constituents. Nicole Killian reports on.
Actually, I want to get right to, I want to cut to the meat of it, okay? No bones, just meat, because there is definitely something here that I want you to see. We got a veteran who is at a town hall, angry over Doge. Let's watch that. And then I'm going to show you another voice memo that Tom Tillis received.
I'm a veteran and you don't give a f*** about me. Hey, shut the f*** up.
I was at this town hall. It was full of conservatives. Yeah, I think that older conservatives are going to get angrier and angrier. That's going to also piss off a lot of Americans as well, conservatives as well. This is what I mean when I say, like, Americans are relatively servile people, but that's because they're relatively comfortable people. And the government making decisions like this in the short term might not be seen by many Americans, but I think, or might not get broad reception from, CNN or maybe other outlets or whatever. But I do think that this is going to piss off people. Like, the example I will give you is like Colombia, right? Mahmoud Khalil, Arab name, scary guy. They're saying he's a terrorist. A lot of Americans can turn the other cheek at that. They'll go, oh, it's probably good. He's probably scary. I'm conditioned to feel like this is a bad guy. But this is not going to stop there. Inevitably, the government is going to nab someone who will have a higher media profile. There will be a Luigi Mangione situation. Not Luigi Mangione in the sense that, like, someone will allegedly assassinate a CEO, a healthcare CEO. I mean, like, Luigi Mangione got broad positive reception, not simply because everybody understood why he did what he did, allegedly, but also because his background, the way he looks, the way he carried himself, the way his friends talked about him. These are the types of optics that Americans respond to and will very quickly turn into a folk hero. The unfortunate reality is that Americans broadly don't think about Muslims as humans and think about them as scary terrorists. But this will, the stress will increase. We will, of course, continue applying pressure. But having said that, inevitably that pressure will cause the dam to break. Because when there's more pressure, there's going to be more countermeasures, more prosecutions, more arrests, scarier enforcement tactics, and eventually you're going to arrest someone that is even more of a perfect victim in the eyes of Americans. Not saying that Mahmoud wasn't. Not saying that you even have to be a perfect victim. And when that happens, or as things continue to worsen, people will absolutely put more teeth in their resistance. Especially if material conditions continue to worsen for the average American. Like, I'll give you an example. Republicans are currently discussing inside of their party to no longer have in-person town halls. This was reported by the New York Times. Republican House members told to stop holding in-person town halls. Okay, let's say you don't do that. People still want to respond to you, though. So if you don't hold in-person town halls, they'll respond to you in public. You just won't like it, because in-person town halls are certainly a more managed way to address the public. Because if you don't do town halls, people are inevitably going to find out where you are, because you're going to do a book tour, or you're going to go to an event where you're fundraising. They're going to be outside of that event. You don't want that. They'll go out to your houses. You don't want that. So Hasan, stop right there, Holy. I'm not saying that this is what I want people to do, dumbasses. I'm saying that there needs to be a pressure valve. That is what the town halls are supposed to do. The pressure valve is the town halls. If you don't do it at a town hall, people are going to address their concerns to you directly wherever you go. This is just a descriptive statement. It's not a prescriptive one. I'm not saying this is what people should do. I'm just telling you that this is most likely what is going to happen. This is what has happened throughout American history and throughout history in general. Now, we watched this video.
Just to be clear, you're bullshit and you're not telling the truth. You're not listening to
Let him speak. Let him speak.
For example, folks at the National Weather Service
are fired.
Now that I gave you the potatoes, let me show you the meat. Here is Senator Tom Tillis, who released an audio of death threats directed at him, his staff, and his family. I disavow this. I disavow. I'm going to say this over and over again. But when you listen to who is making these threats, you will probably quickly recognize that this is not like a HasanAbi head by any measure. Let's take a look.
Good afternoon, Senator Tillis.
That's how northern warbeck think about you southern white trash. That's what the ones who won the Civil War think about you. Do you understand that inferior bad genes, inbred stupid you and all your people?
Yeah, Tom Tillis, afraid of death threats. Then get the out of office.
I would like to talk to Tom Tillis and ask him why he thinks it's okay for him to take money from this nation and it over. Why does he think that he can tell his employers to go themselves every goddamn day, all day long, and sell his goddamn nation out and his employers over? Don't he know that his employers can take a axe handle and cave his head in?
God damn. Let me tell you something. I don't think that guy is in the DSA. I don't think that's a HasanAbi head. I think that dude is probably a voter. That's the average. I would say that's the average Republican voter, as a matter of fact.
And I suggest, well, you're going to have to be very careful about going out in public or talking to anybody that's real, that's an actual American, because we hate you.
If I didn't have a broken back in Southern California, I would spend the rest of my life in federal prison for a chance to cut your throat.
That's insane. Oh, that is North Carolina's very own Republican Tom Tillis. Those are his constituents. People are mad, dude. I disavow. Of course, I disavow. Now, having said that, I can disavow till the cows come home. You can't stop 75-year-old boomers from making these death threats. You're cooked. Do you understand? Yeah, these are dudes who are using a landline to make a death threat to a congressperson. I saw a funny reaction to this, which was like someone reacting to Edinger Mentum's post, which was like, yeah, Zoomers, I think it'd be funny if something a little bad happened to this politician. In Minecraft, though, haha, boomers using their full names and address, I am going to kill you. Like, boomers do not fuck around, dude. Now, I'm not saying they're going to actually follow through on these promises, but I'm just simply stating that, like, if you got boomers saying shit like this, yeah, you got to change the trajectory. You know, you got to change course. Dark woke sweeping the nation. I don't think these guys are woke, man. I think they're aware of where the funding cuts are happening and what kind of repercussions that might have on them. So in an opportunity moment like this, in quite the opportune moment like this, how are the Democrats not actively trying to drive a wedge between the constituencies and the party when the party's actions are deliberately implementing austerity measures that are harmful to their base of support, to the Republican Party's base of support? How in the ever-loving are you not screaming from the rooftops every single day about how this is going to cause a boomer side? You've voluntarily gave up that position by voting for the cloture. You're volunteering to say, we can't even use this as a political messaging tool against the party that is going to set these deep cuts. I don't believe that every single card-carrying Democratic politician is this oblivious or this awful. And I don't know where we go from here, but I do see anger and resentment.
One gathering in North Carolina that did go ahead, and it got, how shall we say, very heated.
Yeah. Ro Khanna, when the Senate minority leader sells you out, the only option is to take back the party and country with grassroots activists in blue and red districts to stand up for the Constitution and our democracy. It's interesting to see Ro Khanna say this while he's, in between tweeting about how Elon Musk is a great American entrepreneur who should be defended at all costs. That's the Ro Khanna cycle, baby. For every 3 things that he does that you're like, what are you doing with the limited amount of time and space that you have to speak about issues? How did you choose to do this? And then the next day he'll be like, the American revolutionary sentiment is ripe. Rise up, proletarians. Like, he's like, America is ripe for revolution. we must seize the means of production away from the parasitic capital owners and deliver it back to the working class now.
At Thursday's town hall in Asheville, the lines began early, snaking outside the building with some who oppose President Trump.
America has never been like this. We've had disputes, we've had disagreements, we've had protests, but I've never seen it this angry before.
And others who support him.
The government has to cut because it is in trouble. And Elon Musk is not voted in, I get it, but neither was Anthony Fauci.
As the event got underway, frustrations towards the administration bubbled over. Attendees sounded off.
Why is a non-elected person running our government?
And shouted down GOP Congressman Chuck Edwards, who represents Asheville, a blue city in an otherwise red district.
You're lying! I'm a veteran! You don't give a about me!
At least one man was hauled out by police.
You don't get to take away our rights! You don't get to take our health care! Get off of it! You don't get to do this!
Yeah. Trump's base already kept trying to kill him during the election because they were bored. Imagine what they would do when they're pissed at him and Musk is a really funny, really funny question to ask.
It follows a series of similar town halls nationwide, where members of Congress have faced off with angry constituents. Edwards received a steady stream of questions about Elon Musk, tariffs, the Ukraine-Russia war, and massive cuts to the federal government, from the VA to the Department of Education.
Why are people losing their jobs at record numbers?
Many in the room are still recovering from Hurricane Helene.
We don't need to hear you tell us what we lived through.
Crowds surrounded Edwards as he left.
Bro, you can't but trans people your way out of this, by the way. That's the other side of it. Like, when you impact people materially in a tangible way that they can immediately recognize, if you impact people and their lives in a meaningful way and they can feel that impact, you can't just cast a dispersion cloud or whatever. You can't just throw a smoke grenade and just escape by saying, but what about trans people? DEI. You can't do that. They're going to be like, I don't give a okay? I don't care who's processing my paperwork as long as I still got health care, as long as I still got Social Security. That's it. These guys think that they could just deploy the trans grenade over and over again to be like, but we're doing these cuts because they're going to trans people, when you got a 78-year-old veteran being like, I ain't trans. You're stealing my money, damn it. I'm the least trans person on the planet. How dare you? When their fragile lives are legitimately threatened, I don't think they will, I don't think they'll awaken to the contradictions and instantly develop class consciousness, especially because a lot of the boomers themselves have some kind of nest egg. So they do have a capacity for capital accumulation, right? So they are not aligned with younger workers that are just entering the marketplace at all. They have homes and shit, right? Their material conditions are very different. The average age of the home buyer a new home buyer in this country is 50 years old. A lot of people who have homes are very old. That's important. That means they have assets. That means they have capital. They have a means of capital accumulation. So for their material conditions to worsen, you have to really, really, you have to really do some messed up shit. Even then, I don't believe that they will rise up with revolutionary fervor. Don't misunderstand me. But like, this anger can be channeled into more appropriate vectors. Because this anger is justifiable. This anger is understandable. Why wouldn't you be angry? Those people are more honest and more aware of who's hurting them than the damn near entirety of the Democratic Party's leadership that refuses to basically say, this is austerity. This is happening. Trump is doing this to you. They're recognizing it on their own. They're recognizing it on their own without the Democratic Party steering them in this direction. What exactly are they angry about? They're angry about layoffs. They're angry about the federal government layoffs. Some of them are federal government agency workers, or some of them are related to federal government workers. Some of them are angry at the fact that Social Security and Medicaid spending is slated to be cut. That's understandable that they would be upset at that. Some of them are veterans and VAs getting cut. Veterans are getting fired. I saw a stat that it was like, this administration has fired more veterans than any administration prior, like something insane like that.
But the GOP lawmaker has vowed to keep holding in-person town hall.
Folks certainly have the right to protest and share their concerns. That's part of the process with democracy.
For CBS Mornings, I'm Nicole Killian in Asheville, North Carolina.